Working with others can lead to challenges, especially working in teams or on projects. Understanding how the different preferences contribute to a work situation aids in understanding each other and builds better working relationships, and this will lead to a greater chance of productivity. So let's look first at the extroverted preference versus the introverted. The extroverted preference type prefers and likes variety and action. They are going to tend to be faster because they're going to dislike anything that is complicated, like a complicated procedure. They are often good at greeting people and are very impatient with those long, slow jobs. They are interested in the results of their job and in getting it done and how other people do it. They often don't mind the interruptions that happen, like, answering a telephone. They're going to act quickly and sometimes without even thinking. They like to have other people around, and they usually are going to communicate very freely. So let's look at how these attributes of the extrovert compare to the introvert. The introvert is going to prefer a more quiet environment. They like to concentrate. They tend to be careful with their details, and they dislike any kind of sweeping general statement. They have trouble remembering names and faces, and they tend not to mind working on one project for a very long period of time uninterrupted. They're interested in the ideas behind their jobs. They dislike telephone interruptions. They like to be quiet, and they like to work uninterrupted, which means that they're really not going to like anything that's going to interrupt them. And a great way that they might work is even to pause or to mute their emails or any kind of other distraction. They like to think before they act, and they sometimes are going to really think a lot. They like to work alone, and they have at times problems communicating with others. Looking at the sensing versus the intuitive types, the sensitive type likes to really be able to have data around them. They like to have a standard. Therefore, they don't like anything with new problems unless there's already some kind of pattern set up to help them to solve it. They like an established way of doing things. They enjoy using skills already learned more than learning new ones. They work more steadily with a realistic idea of how long it will take. They usually reach a conclusion step by step. They are patient with routine details and impatient when the details get complicated. They are not very inspired, and they rarely are going to trust any kind of inspiration when it does come. They are seldom going to make any kind of errors in facts, and they tend to be really good at precision work. Let's see how it then compares to the intuitive. On the intuitive side, they enjoy new problems. They dislike doing the same thing repeatedly because they like any kind of diversity. They enjoy learning a new skill more than using it. They work in bursts of energy that are powered by enthusiasm, and then they're going to have little periods of slack in the middle. They reach a conclusion quickly. They tend to be impatient with routine details, and they're patient with complicated situations. They follow their inspirations, good or bad, and they frequently make errors of facts. They dislike taking time for anything that's going to be precision-oriented. Now let's take a moment to look at the preferences of thinking versus feeling. So the thinking type does not show emotion readily, and they're more often uncomfortable dealing with people's feelings. They may hurt other people's feelings without even thinking about it or realizing it. They like analysis and putting things into logical order, and they can get along without a lot of harmony. They tend to decide impersonally, sometimes paying insufficient attention to other people's wishes. They need to be treated fairly. They're able to reprimand people or fire them when necessary. They tend to also be analytically oriented. They're going to respond more easily to people's thoughts. They also tend to be very firm-minded. Let's take a moment now to compare that to the feeling preference. The feeling preference tends to be very aware of other people and their feelings. They enjoy pleasing people, even in unimportant things. They like harmony. Efficiency may be very disturbed by office feuds or any kind of office politics. They often let decisions be influenced by their own or other people's likes and wishes. They need occasional praise. They dislike telling people unpleasant things, and they're more people-oriented. They tend to respond easily to people's values and what's important to them. They also tend to be more sympathetic than the thinking preference. For the judging preference, these are our planners. They work best when they have a plan, when they can follow the plan, and they know that the plan is going to work. They like to get things done. They want things settled. They want things finished. They may often decide things too quickly. They may dislike to interrupt the project they are on for a more urgent one, and they won't notice new things that might need to get done. They want only the essentials to begin their work. They also tend to be satisfied once they reach a judgment on a thing, situation, or a person. Now let's take a moment to look at that perceiving preference. The perceiving preference tends to be adaptable. They are going to adapt well to any kind of change, especially change in a situation. They do not mind leaving things open for alterations, and they may have trouble making decisions. They may start too many projects and often have difficulty finishing any of them. They may postpone unpleasant jobs, and they want to know all about a new job. They tend to be curious and welcome new light on anything, situation, or person.